Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I truly hope that... Damn it, why did my voice have to crack? It completely destroyed the opening. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Hunter Avalone here. Today we're in for a good one. And I'm excited, okay? I'm really excited. Socialism is when people do stuff. No, socialism is when the government does stuff. Bro, the new update is sick. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Debate me first. We're both named Hunter. Yo, Hunter, you hitting the bong today? I don't know, mate. We'll see. It depends how well the stream starts to go. All right. You're covering chat? No, you can see it when it comes up here, see? Wait, it's opposite. I gotta remember that. So yeah, it's right here. Hi, chat. Now this would be covering chat, see? That intro scared the crap out of me. Good. Let's smoke up a J. How's everyone doing today? What's up, huh? All right. Should I go over my position and then get into the debates? Or should I just get right into the debates on rainbow capitalism? I got to go over my position first, okay? So recently I made a take on Twitter, and as always, that's how you know we're off to a... Hello. Thank you for the follow. What was I saying? Oh, right. So the other day, I made a take on Twitter, and that's how you know we're off to a great start, okay? The take is here. Hot take, rainbow capitalism is good, actually. So, that was my position. It was a very Chad move, as you can see. I didn't elaborate. I didn't say much. I just dropped a hot take, left. So I know. I got that Chad energy today. But yeah, that was my take. Rainbow capitalism is good. Now, when I say rainbow capitalism, what I mean is the whole Pride Month, waving the gay flags, putting the pride flag in the logo, the hollow virtue signaling. I think that that is good, actually. Now, how would we go about defining if something is good or not? The first thing would be, does it have a positive outcome? And are the consequences of that thing a net positive or a net negative overall? And I would say that rainbow capitalism is a overall positive. Another thing, when we're defining if something is good or not, we have to compare it, because I know there are going to be people here that are probably socialists and don't even agree with capitalism in general, but you have to compare it to the alternative in order to determine if this is good or not. So, I'm trying to think how I'm going to phrase this. Like, I think there might be a temptation there for a lot of people to sort of, you know, well, capitalism is so less than ideal. Capitalism is bad. Capitalism is this. Well, we can criticize all day, but we can't really compare it to some hypothetical, perfect alternate system. We can't do that. We have to work within the realm of reality. So I would argue that by standing against this rainbow capitalism idea overall, and rather pushing for this socialist stuff, I think that what's more realistic, right? Now, before we get into that, let me first go over my thoughts here as to why I consider this to be a good thing. So, one, it's better than the alternative. because the alternative would just be capitalism, not rainbow capitalism. Second of all, rainbow capitalism overall works to normalize gay people. Yes, it's hollow. Yes, it's shallow. Yes, it's virtue signaling. That's what corporations do. They virtue signal to try and make money. But I think the fact that right now the market has determined, or the market incentivizes companies to support gay people, institutional recognition of gay people, that's a good thing. I have multiple different studies here that I would be happy to go over. So first, we have a general study talking about how this study suggests normalizing diversity and inclusion makes people more tolerant. And this goes over how exposure can equal comfort. So when these corporations are pumping out this gay stuff, although hollow, although virtue signaling, it is playing a role in normalizing that, more or less. Let's see. The large-scale study, pro-diversity intervention. Okay. So they took some students, 2,490 UW-Madison students, participants aged from 18 to over 60, and the demographics were different for each. The paper divides its sample into two groups. Caucasian participants, who were either Christian or had no religion, were considered to be privileged, whereas all other participants were considered to be marginalized. The majority of the participants in the focus groups were white males and females, with a small sample identifying as non-binary. The exact demographic breakdown of the marginalized group is unclear. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to just get to the conclusion. So right here, I recognize, now they don't have any direct studies on corporations waving a gay flag and how that affects, right? But they do have this kind of study where they put up posters, right, that were exposed to hundreds of students. And it sounds like they designed a poster reporting results from the actual survey that 93% of students say they embrace diversity, that 84% of participants agreed to be pictured on the poster. The posters remained on campus for several years. Okay. Researchers regularly checked in on students after they had interacted with the media. When we measured 10 or 12 weeks later, the students who were exposed to the interventions report more positive attitudes towards members of other groups and stronger endorsement of diversity. So I recognize that this is not a direct comparison to corporations, but what this shows is that when you are exposed to pro-diversity messaging, it's more likely to make you more tolerant. So whether it's conscious or not, when we have these massive corporations waving the gay flag and promoting pride, that is going to help normalize it further, help normalize being gay. A group that has historically been very oppressed, seen as another, they've been very oppressed and marginalized. To see these companies showing even a hollow symbol of solidarity, that is a good thing, because as we've seen from this study, when people are exposed to pro-diversity messaging, that can have a subliminal positive effect on them. That's not the only study either. There's also this one. How the media has helped change public views about lesbian and gay people. You see, when people accuse these corporations of like virtue signaling, you could do the same thing with diversity in media, right? How come during Jim Crow, we didn't see that many movies with black people in them? And then all of a sudden after Jim Crow, suddenly we have black actors and whatever? I mean, Talk about virtue signaling and shilling out. I mean, you could make the same type of argument for any kind of media representation because it all has a profit motive. So, let's see. Increases in representations of gay people in news, television, and movies started in the 1990s. Okay. Let's see. So in a cross-national, multi-level analysis of individual attitudes, our work demonstrates that both media pervasiveness and press freedom are related to more liberal attitudes among young people. We believe that these young people's exposure to gay and lesbians in the media coincides with contacts younger people have with gay and lesbian people and issues through other avenues of socialization. However imperfect media portrayals of gay people may be, and however poor substitute for personal contacts, the media does introduce new debates and new frames of reference about homosexuality. So depending on how that media is, it can have a positive or a negative effect. But when it's a positive thing, like what we see during Pride, that can lead to people being more comfortable socializing with openly gay individuals. Let's see. The takeaway of our research is that as the liberalization of attitudes towards gays and lesbians has occurred in many countries across the globe, change has been encouraged in part by communications climates within and across nations that allow for the free transmission of minority viewpoints. Hold on. Let's see. To close gaps in tolerance. This is more about, hold on, I'm trying to find this is the larger implication. That's why I was confused. Hold on. Okay. The study suggests that the effects of contacts with an outgroup involves more than just face-to-face interactions. Researchers, advocates, and policymakers. Television, film, radio, and the internet remain powerful socializing mechanisms through which younger generations come into contact with previously invisible minorities. So again, I know this isn't a one-to-one comparison. I tried to find like a study for directly related to Pride. Unfortunately, I can't find something that direct. But I think that from this, we can pretty reasonably assume and apply it to corporations as well when they're sort of promoting that it's okay to be gay, right? I think that goes to normalize an otherwise marginalized group. That is a good thing. We know that media now can play a role, and we know that representation matters and can lead to less bigotry. So far that sounds like a net good if you ask me. Now let's go to something else that is a common argument that I see brought up a lot. Hold on. Hold on. I need to find the original study. Popular information. Okay. Wait, please. Okay. Now, this is something else that gets brought up quite often. These 25 rainbow flag-waving corporations donated more than $10 million to anti-gay politicians in the last 2 years. So, this, of course, at face value, looks like a massive punch in the gut. My first thought was, hold up, are you telling me that these corporations are selling pro-Pride merchandise and then using that money to fund anti-gay politicians? That's what this sounds like, and that's oftentimes how it's presented as well. But you'll notice something. You'll notice that how are these donations occurring? They're occurring through the corporate PAC that's connected to some of these companies. So when I heard that, then I'm thinking, well, what the fuck is a corporate PAC? What does that mean? Turns out that these donations to some of these politicians, first of all, had nothing to do with anything being anti-gay. Most likely, they were donating because Republicans tend to cut corporate taxes. Trickle-down economics, it was Reagan's thing. It's been a Republican thing. That makes sense to me. But furthermore, corporations cannot and do not donate to their own PAC. Even though when you hear corporate PAC, you're thinking, okay, so CVS is putting money into this thing to then donate to anti-LGBT politicians. That's not what happens. These corporate PACs are employee funded. Employees pay into that. And originally, the idea of a corporate PAC was so employees could have a collective voice to sway legislation to benefit the company and benefit themselves, their jobs. So just to be very clear, these corporations are not selling pro-Pride merchandise and then using it to fund anti-LGBT politicians. That's just not what's happening. What's happening here is there are corporate PACs that employees donate to. These corporate PACs are extremely well regulated. They're not dark money. They are regulated by the FEC. They are well documented. And you'll also notice that some of these corporate PACs are actually split. Like, if you look at how Facebook, for example, contributions from this PAC to federal candidates, 47.23% to Democrats, 52.20% to Republicans. So a lot of the times you'll notice also that these corporate PACs donate to Democrats and Republicans at sometimes more frequent or comparable rates than others. Some corporations do donate much more to Republicans. Some corporations donate a little more to Democrats. A lot of the corporate PACs seem to donate pretty evenly, more or less. Facebook being a great example of that. So these are corporate PACs, employee funded. The corporation does not pay into it. And these are PACs that go towards pursuing the company's business interest, which usually are tax cuts, of course. Now, there's an argument to be made that that's still kind of disingenuous. There's also an argument to be made that some of these pages on their website, they have their own little like rules that they say they're going to abide by when donating. You can maybe call them out for, going against their rules. But there's nothing illegal here, and there's really just not that much hypocritical. This isn't really being given to from these corporations. And when the corporations, well, not all of them, but when a lot of these corporations are able to directly give money, or let me rephrase that. When these corporations have direct control of this money, they tend to give it back for Pride Month. So here's a list of 25 different companies that have all donated millions, or at least hundreds of thousands, to multiple pro-gay organizations that help homeless LGBT youth, the Trevor Project, the National Center for Transgender Equality. So a lot of these corporations, when they have direct control over this money, they're donating to pro-LGBT causes. And again, it is because the market incentivizes this kind of behavior. This looks good for PR. This is ultimately going to boost sales. Because of rainbow capitalism, we're seeing more support, both subconsciously in a tolerance sense and even in a financial sense. This is thanks to rainbow capitalism. So that's my take. That's why I think rainbow capitalism is good, actually. What do you think? You guys agree with me? Do you think I made my case okay? Zelvanix, what's up, man? Zevalinks Union.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how you doing? I see that you appear to be disagreeing with me big time.
Uh, yeah, I don't, yeah, not really big time. I think there are some flaws in rainbow capitalism.
Okay. Well,
For
yeah, just
example,
to
like,
just to be very crystal clear, I'm by no means saying that it's perfect or as good as it gets. Not at all. There are certainly improvements that we can still make, but I'm just saying considering, how we would go about determining if something is good or not, I think that it's overall a good thing. But please continue.
yeah, so my main contention is, for example, if you have these starting civil rights, like, for example, LGBTQ or like Black Lives Matter movements, if companies participate in such, and like basically the virtue signaling of, yeah, we support you, we stand behind you. I have no problem with that if it's a starting movement. But as we currently see in Pride Month,
Hmm.
the companies are basically just making money off of it, and they're just like sending a signal. But I don't think it arrives to either side of the political spectrum as acceptance. It's just like a take, just like a way to get the money of the consumers.
Well, of course, there's a desire there to get money. That's inevitable because, well, we live in a capitalist society, right? So, of
Of
course,
course.
there's an incentive there. But I would say that's a good thing. It's a good thing that the market incentivizes companies to be pro gay. And when you talk
Yeah,
about these companies kind of like virtue signaling and being sort of empty, I agree. It is, of course, it's empty and virtue signaling. I think companies virtue signal for virtually every cause they possibly can if it's going to make them money. But in their goal to make money, it's also leading, like what I pointed to with those studies, to a level, I believe, of a subconscious normalization as well. I think that there's a reason that we continue to see gay acceptance rise. And although, that would be that's very correlation, I'm not saying that's a causational argument. I still think there's something to be said that the more that we see this promoted, the more that we see major institutions supporting gay individuals and recognizing gay people as being valid and normal human beings. I think that that does go to subconsciously normalize that.
I 100% agree with you, but I think there's a tipping point. Like, because at a certain level, it doesn't work anymore for these companies to put up this action or to change their logos into rainbow colors.
So why
And
is that? What do you mean though? I don't understand why that's a bad thing. Like, for
well,
example, I talked just a second ago about that study where they took a sort of pro diversity uh, advertisement or like a paper that that said something about, people supporting diversity, and they put it up on a college campus and they tested, and it turned out that the people who were exposed to more pro diversity material were more likely to be more tolerant and less bigoted. So I think that that could very easily apply to companies putting the rainbow flag up. Maybe it doesn't have that much of a significant thing, but it still can go to subconsciously normalize it. And also, you got to think there are some people that, although society is normalizing gay people to a large degree, which I'm so glad for, there are also a lot of people in individual households that it might not feel so normalized to them, like in a super religious household or something.
of course, I 100% agree with you that there are effective ways in how these companies like make sure like these progressive goals are being met, right? But I don't think that this is a good thing. Like at a certain point, like if you have like BLM and it's in the rise, and there's a company that supports like BLM,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, okay, like bring this those representation into the companies and let them show like this is something normal. This is something we should support.
Okay.
But at a certain point, it just becomes meaningless, and I think that is not per se like a good thing. Like
But how
a
do you know it's
meaningless gesture,
meaningless?
as I said, well, as you just said, like the companies, they want to make money off of it. They
Well,
don't actually care about the goals. They just want want to get the publication from being in supportive
So what would it
quotation marks
take?
of these goals.
What would it take for some of these corporations to do for you to consider it like an overall good thing? I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's the best we can do and we should stop here. Not at all. I'm not advocating for complacency. I'm just saying that overall seems like a good thing, generally speaking. So what would it take for you to consider rainbow capitalism a good thing?
Well, currently as it is, um, again, like just the signals, not enough. If we want to talk about actual action and actual goals, like in this rainbow capitalism that we would want to see, I would say like maybe donating to some goals, like not being like the hypocritical ideology, because some companies basically do say A and they do B, and just there was like
Okay, yeah,
uh,
no, I think that
a large chain of a company that promoted anti-gay sort of stuff. I can't remember it
right.
currently.
So I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there were 10 different companies that promoted pro LGBT stuff, but then had quote unquote donated to anti LGBT politicians. But that money was collected from employees for the corporate PAC. Corporations cannot legally donate to their own
Oh no
PAC.
no no no! It was like a chain of a Chick-fil-A or some shit like that, and it had like
Well,
and it
Chick-fil-A might be,
donated to
yeah,
gay.
Chick-fil-A. Okay. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't. Chick Fil A is notoriously anti-gay, but hey, I have a list for you right here of 25 companies that have donated money to pro LGBT causes. So, for example, 25 companies doing this. I think that it shows that the market is incentivizing companies to donate to pro LGBT causes. They know that's going to be good for PR. They know that's going to ultimately get them more approval and ultimately make them more money. That seems like a good thing, right? That's what you just said that you would want. So not only do we have some of these companies virtue signaling, which we know more or less can play a role in leading to more tolerance and less bigotry and more normalization of gay people, we also have the market incentivizing companies to donate hundreds of thousands, or not hundreds of thousands, but tens of thousands of dollars to various pro LGBT causes. So I guess
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not
I
understanding how is this not good?
yeah. So I'm just like stuck between between the ideas that okay, you have on one hand, if this is a progressive movement, which it currently is, okay, fine, let's go for it. Let's do this. Okay, let's make sure this representation within the companies shows itself, and fine, great. But then at a certain point, it it isn't a progressive goal anymore. It's just like this virtue signaling, and that's where my
But
contention
that's what
is.
I'm saying is
Like
even if it was just hollow virtue signaling, which it's not, because we just went over this list of 25 different companies that are incentivized now to donate. But even if it was, and some of these companies do just do the hollow virtue signaling, that can also play a role in normalization. If anything, it could be neutral, but I don't think you could say it's bad, and I'm arguing that it's good. So maybe you're saying it's neutral?
okay, I can concede on that point. Yeah. So first it's good because it supports like the smaller progressive goals, and then later as it just is a virtue signaling, I can
The
concede that
virtue
isn't bad,
signaling
that
is
it
like
would be neutral.
right. So okay, cool. So maybe we can kind of come to an agreement there then.
Okay, yeah, I would call it agreement. Yeah.
All right. No, I
Yeah,
think
thank you for
I
asking them.
kind of understand what you're getting at, kind of, but I am having a hard time, I guess, like following because I know you're saying there's a tipping point, but what is the tipping point?
Well, that depends on the social situation, right? Like there are no companies currently supporting MLK, right? At a certain point we've passed along that point, and it's hard to determine which point it is because it's not really measurable. Like okay, at December the 22nd of the year 2025, then is a tipping point, and then it won't be useful anymore. No, I think that's a more social subjective point on which we can say, okay, this isn't helping anymore. Let's continue with actually doing
Or do
something
yeah, or
to
doing both
improve.
even, or doing both, because I think like if we're just seeing more rainbow capitalism but also more hiring of gay people, more donating to gay causes, then that's great. So, all right, man. Hey,
Yeah,
thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate it.
yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Avram Bertrand, what's up?
Hey,
How you
is
doing?
my mic on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so, um, just wanted to say I've been a fan of your show since like 2016. I used to be a conservative like you. Incidentally, I stopped watching your stuff like a couple years ago just because I became more left wing, and then suddenly you were more left wing. But anyway, so
Gotcha.
I had some disagreements with what you were saying and what you were just saying about um, like the stuff about how it's a good thing that they're donating to like the Trevor Project and so on. I actually disagree with that, and I think that results in basically it's like a hijacking of the movement when they're donating to these causes because then their voices become more important than the grassroots organizers, the people that have been working for it.
I'm going to starkly disagree with this one. I don't care about
Okay.
whose voice is more elevated. I care
Well,
about what's going to overall benefit gay people more, and donating to these causes,
here's
having
the problem though.
$25,000, $100,000 donations is going to be a good thing. I'm not really concerned with if it elevates
Fundamentally,
their voice more or whatever.
they have fundamentally different interests though, and like I can go over the reason why. So if you look at the main issues in the gay community, LGBT community in general, so one of them, for instance, is homelessness. So 40% of homeless people are LGBT, and
Mm-hmm.
a good solution for that would be free public housing. I don't know if you would agree with that per se, but this is something that corporations are going to disagree with because free public housing is going to likely lower the costs of housing. And so if they're taking control of the movement, that's going to diminish as a priority. And then like employment discrimination, that's another thing. Um, I
So,
suspect,
a couple things. Uh, It sounds to me like what you're really getting at is that they're going to not align with your like ultimate ideological goal that would that is might not ever happen, right? So like
well, yeah,
housing for
exactly.
everyone sounds great, but what you're basically saying is that we shouldn't be donating to pro gay causes and we shouldn't be helping to normalize gay people because later on down the line they might not agree with this like kind of radical idea of like free housing for
I don't think
everyone.
it's radical at all. I think it's
But no,
very common outside.
it's not about whether or not it's a radical position.
Yeah,
It's
but
about how that's
fair enough,
not
fair
really
enough.
a good argument against why we shouldn't work within reality.
Well, the problem is these are goals I think that are interlinked. Like you talk a lot about the social issues, and this is criticism. I hope it comes in good faith about you. You almost like all your videos are about social issues. I think you have a problem interconnecting it with foreign policy and economics, and these are very important things that you have to address at the same time.
Admittedly I am a bit weaker in economics, but this is something that I put a lot of research in, and I think I understand generally what I'm talking about as far
Yeah,
as like this rainbow capitalism thing goes. I'm
and
not
I will
really
concede.
interested in arguing about whether or not free housing is going to work. I'm sure there are some great arguments for it. I'm in favor of a UBI. You know, I bet we'd have some agreements there.
Look,
But
even like lowering housing costs, like rent control or anything, like they're going
like
to
one of these
avoid doing
companies,
anything.
so for example, one of these companies on this list donated to an organization that helps homeless LGBT youth. That's going to go a lot more. That's going to help
Yeah.
LGBT
So
homeless youth right now, as opposed to we shouldn't do rainbow capitalism because then their voices will be more elevated and they might not agree with free housing down the line. Like, do you see how these
well,
things don't follow?
I see what you're saying, but the thing is that I think it's vital to address housing, and I just so yeah, corporations don't have uniform interests all the way, but generally speaking, they are going to be opposed to measures that are going to reduce homelessness. So I'm sure you can find a couple of corporations that will say otherwise. But and then the other thing is like I think it's a means to mask their other criticisms of the company. Like Raytheon is a good example. Like I'm sure you noticed on Twitter, for All Pride Month, they had their logo changed into like a rainbow thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're an egregious corporation. They fund the arms control. Like they consist of a bunch of war criminals. So then
Wait.
you look
What's
at
the company called?
Raytheon.
How was
They're
the
a mass-
money? Wait. How was the money donated? That's the first thing I want to know. Was it
How did
donated
they
via
donate?
a corporate PAC?
Okay, so corporate PACs, like that's another disagreement I have with you. So yes, and
Okay,
their
so wait. So it
their
was.
CEO,
Hold on.
so their CEO donated millions on his own to various politicians like Martha McSally and Joni Ernst. He donated like the legal maximum amount on OpenSecrets.org, and you can look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking
Um,
here, and I'm also seeing that they've donated almost a even split, 48% to Democrats, 51% to Republicans.
Yeah, they do that because, well, okay, so I kind of grew up, like my father is a corporate lawyer, so I kind of grew up in this environment. So the way it works with corporate PACs is, yeah, they can't legally donate to them, but
Mm-hmm.
there's this pressure that exists within the higher level of people
Mm-hmm.
in management positions and such, where you don't donate it, you don't donate to them, then they'll maybe not raise your salary. So there's this immense pressure. So yeah, it's not technically coming from them,
I
but
don't know about this. You're saying the company pressures their employees to donate to certain
well,
causes?
it's not. So it's not like explicit. They're not saying, okay, you don't donate, you're not getting a salary, right? It's very implicit. It's very, very subtle. Like you'll suddenly see your salary go up if you donate to PACs. Like it's a very like they don't need to say anything. It's kind of similar to the
Well,
whole concept of like
maybe donating to that PAC allowed them to have some kind of a tax cut where they were actually benefited. The point of having a corporate PAC is so that employees can pay in to ultimately benefit themselves
yeah.
and benefit the company. So maybe
Well, it benefits. Well,
so
yeah,
you
you're
think like if
exactly
they
right.
got a higher salary, then they're probably pretty happy about that. That probably
Yeah,
aligns with
exactly.
both
And
their
so
interest and the business.
yeah, but yeah, exactly. So I so when they're donating that money, it's
Uh-huh.
so that's why you can't just dismiss corporate PACs outright because the people donating to it, it is the corporation and it is their. So yeah, it's
But why can't you?
technically indirect.
But you could just as easily say they're donating to the Democrats also. This is like a complete
Yeah, they
split
are. They
here.
donate to everyone. They have zero ideology. They just donate to whoever
Yeah,
politically
exactly.
aligns with them.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
yes,
But this isn't
exactly. And
paid to
so
via the corporation. This is paid into from the employees. And
yes,
so the
who
employees are
align
able to do that.
exactly
And
with the
also here
corporate interests.
I can
It's not
literally
like the employee is saying, "Oh, I'm going to donate to like X or Y because I want to." It's like they'll have these people and they'll say, "Okay,
listen
here's
right
who
here.
you're going to donate to."
This is from Wiley.law, okay? Um Contrary to some media reports, corporate PACs do not use corporate money to contribute to federal candidates. Instead, corporate PACs are funded by voluntary individual contributions from eligible
Yes, you're
employees.
correct. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm
These are
not
like highly
arguing with you on
regulated
any of it.
things. I find it very hard to believe that all of these corporations are like subliminally pressuring their employees. And it's probably that
Well,
the
I mean, yeah.
employees saw a
I mean, have you
benefit
read?
from that certain legislation that cut corporate taxes, like Donald Trump being in office, cutting corporate taxes probably benefit them in some way or another, or maybe they thought it would.
Oh, yeah, the higher echelons. Yeah, absolutely. But
So this is
the
more of
thing
an
is,
issue with money and politics overall. This is still
yeah,
not even an example of like the money that these corporations are making via Pride Month are not going to anti-gay causes. So it's an
well, they
entirely
are.
separate
They're
issue.
going to these Republican candidates.
No, that's not from
So
the corporation. That's from the
yeah, but
employees
they
working at the
want them to
corporation.
donate them.
That the employees that individually choose to donate.
Yeah, but it's in their. It's the upper echelon of employees. Like we're not talking about like some janitor. We're talking about like corporate lawyers, marketing people. We're talking about the upper level of people, like the CEO of Raytheon, for instance. He
Well,
donated
hold on.
with his own money. His
I'm
own
sorry to
money.
interrupt you, but if we could just let's pull back here and let's get away from the
Yeah, sorry.
Raytheon thing. Explain this to me in the relation to the rainbow capitalism. So explain to me what are you saying? Are you saying that rainbow capitalism is in fact bad because these corporations sometimes seem insincere how they're corporate
No,
PACs
no, 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 no,
donate?
no, no, no. No. So what I'm saying is that this money. So yeah, they're not explicitly donating because they hate gay people. I think we both can agree on that. They're donating
Right.
because of their corporate interests.
And they want
And
tax cuts.
people that are Republicans, the Republican Party since the Southern strategy in the 1960s has
Right.
had has appealed to Christian conservatives and the economically well off.
Well, right. And that
So those
also
are the two
Reagan did
constituencies.
there was the whole trickle down economics starting with
Yeah,
Reagan.
exactly, exactly. So, but those two interests are like that's their coalition. And so when you donate to one, you're implicitly helping the other, right? So just
No,
because,
that's where I'm disagreeing with you. The money
well,
that I
by
give to
definition,
these,
you
for
are.
example, CVS, okay? If I go in and I buy a rainbow sweatshirt from CVS, then no, that money is not going to necessarily go to an anti-gay politician. It's going to go to the company. And I already went over the list of different brands that are also donating
Yeah,
to these
and
various
you did a
causes
really,
too.
yeah, you've made some really good arguments actually. And but see, just because something doesn't explicitly like A plus B equals C, B plus A equals C. So yeah, when you donate to a politician because of economic interests, you're also implicitly supporting them on other things by definition. Because
You're
yeah,
right.
just
Yeah,
because you,
and that would be a money in politics issue, right? But
but it's
ultimately this
interconnected. It's interconnected.
so maybe we can worry about that, like fixing money in politics. This doesn't really have anything to do though with rainbow capitalism and actually like
Completely disagree.
I also
Because
disagree with you and because I think that it's kind of a little bit ironic that you think that these companies are like subliminally like brainwashing their employees to donate
have
to
you heard of
certain
the
things,
idea of
but yet you don't think that
manufacturing?
like but you don't think that maybe these companies waving rainbow flags and selling pride merchandise doesn't have some subliminal effect on people like having more tolerance towards gay people?
Oh, I do. I do. I do. I'm not going to argue with you that it normalizes it. I think there's
Okay, good.
all
So
the
we have
evidence is
an agreement
overwhelming.
there then that
We
it
have an
does play a
agreement
role
there.
in
Yeah.
normalizing it. Okay, good.
Yeah. So I'm not going to even argue that because I think, yeah, the evidence is overwhelming. However, I think it's used as a means to avoid the terrible things they do. Like Nestle is another example. They had like, they do all sorts of gay pride stuff, but they're obviously doing it to maximize their profits, and you acknowledge that. But it's a way of covering up. Like recently, there was a
But
Supreme
you
Court
keep
case.
it's going to be a corporate PAC, right? Yeah. Yep. It's going to be a corporate
Yeah,
PAC
but there
again.
was there was a Supreme Court case where Nestle
And
was
yes, they
allowed
do
essentially to
donate a
do
little
child
bit more to
slavery.
Republicans, but they
Well,
also
hold on,
donate
hold on,
pretty
hold on, hold on. I'm saying they so they do things like child slavery in like the third world, or not child slavery, forced labor, very low wages and such. And so it covers up those problems. It's a way of putting like a veil over all the terrible
How does
things
it
they do.
cover
So
it
it's a
up
way of
though?
ignoring.
That's I don't think that's true. Like for
Well,
example,
it's
these
rebranding
PACs
them.
by law have to be extremely transparent. They're regulated by the FEC. They have to be accounted for. All the funds are listed out. I can send you a PDF of AT&T's donations and where they went and everything else if you want. They're very transparent. So no, it's not
Well,
like a way to
not
mask
because
anything. I think what it is that their PACs don't always align with the like what the company says on the front, and that would be a money in politics issue. But again, the company is not directly paying into this PAC.
well, no, but they're like. Have you ever heard of the idea of manufacturing consent? It's from like Noam Chomsky, right? With the media, how
But
they
it's just
implicitly don't
it's
cover things. It's very similar to that.
but the
So they're
okay,
not telling people you have to or you're getting fired, but it's implicit, right? That like you're
the
you donate
example
to
you
these
gave me
politicians.
of something being implicit was an employee literally benefiting from donating and having
Yeah,
their
exactly.
salary go up. Like that sound
Yeah,
like of
that
course
happens
then that
all the
sounds like
time.
that sounds like it would be a good move for them.
Yeah, but when they donate to these politicians, like, so every corporation has slightly different interests. So some prefer Republicans, some prefer Democrats. But when they donate to Republicans, yeah, they're not doing it to implicitly or
To try and
deliberately to like
stop
hurt
gay
gay people.
people.
They don't care about gay people. They care about profits.
Right?
So if it would be more profitable to only hire transgender people, they absolutely would. But it's
But
not
right now it's
their
profitable for
explicit
them to
action.
help normalize gay people and also
Right.
donate to these pro-gay organizations.
But yeah, so
Like what you're saying it's profitable, you're talking about something that just doesn't seem very like it's kind of removed. When you're talking
yeah, it is
about
a
an
little bit.
overall the PAC that again, like it just seems like they of course are donating for their business interests, of course, but I don't know how that how this really plays a role that much with rainbow capitalism. It sounds to me like what we have is further normalization of a marginalized group and hundreds of thousands of dollars being donated to various different pro-gay LGBT causes because the market incentivizes that. And what you're saying is it's bad because there are all these other problems that should be addressed. Mind you, I don't like money in politics. I think that there are ways to fix that I advocate for regulations all the time. But your solution is ultimately unrealistic, whereas my solution is working within the realm of reality. Like, your solution would be so radical. I mean, it would have to change the way that the economy operates with these corporate PACs, with everything else. Like, am I wrong?
No, I disagree. What I'm saying is that it would just be better if they didn't do anything at all, because it's just covering up all the bad things they do. Because it's a marketing scheme. Really, that's all it is.
I disagree with this so hardcore.
You
because
disagree that they're doing it to market?
No,
of course.
No. Of course I agree that. I've already conceded that. But when you say that it's better than if it would be better if they just didn't do anything. No, I completely disagree with that. If we're going to compare it to them not doing anything or them promoting pro-gay, pro-diversity messaging, then of course why we would want
it hijacks the movement. That's the problem. Instead
How
of
does it hijack the movement?
Because you have to address homelessness. You have to address employment discrimination. You have to address the disproportionate prison population that is LGBT. And when you don't address those things, because the corporations control the movement now, all you are doing is virtue signaling.
You're using a lot of loaded language. You're saying they're now controlling the movement?
Yeah, well, they absolutely
What are you talking about?
Money,
so what would be your solution then? What's your solution then?
Well, go back to it being a grassroots movement, organizing protests, demonstrations. That would be far more effective.
What would be your solution with the Okay, I'm sorry. Proceed.
I think it would just be far more effective if grassroots organizing. I think that's completely realistic, and I think fighting we don't need to have free housing. That might be unrealistic in the short term, but things like rent control, extending the moratorium, which expires in July 31st. Those are realistic goals. And
why can't you have that goal? But why can't you have those goals and also have rainbow capitalism?
Because corporations disagree with that. And so the Trevor Project or whatever, these organizations, if they suddenly start receiving tons of money from corporations, they're not going to address this as much. They're going to address... I
don't know how that is...
You disagree that money in politics or money in organization has an influence on direction? Because we can have that conversation, but you'll lose.
No, let's look at how this is.
Sorry, I've been talking way too much.
No, it's fine. How much do they donate, the Trevor Project?
I just threw that out as an example. I have no idea. But...
Okay, it's just... It sounds like what you're saying is a lot of this shouldn't happen because hypothetical bad thing could happen, or because super hypothetical far out there thing can't happen immediately. These don't sound like very realistic replies to me. Do you understand why I feel a little bit like this doesn't sound very grounded in reality?
I'll have to admit, I'm a little confused with what you're saying. So what exactly are you saying is unrealistic?
My overall point is that I understand that sometimes these corporate interests might not align with some of these down the line goals you have, such as free housing. But I don't think that is fair at all to condemn what we are operating in right now, right? Realistically, when we're operating in reality right now, we are living in a capitalist society. I think it's a good thing that right now it seems as if the corporate interests are aligning with pro-gay messaging.
They're aligning with the superficial stuff. Absolutely. When you talk about those priorities, they're not at all aligned.
That's just not true. No, because it just doesn't make sense. I can point you to examples of companies donating to projects that help LGBT homelessness. You can't tell me that, well, because they do that, now they're suddenly not going to work on homelessness as much.
500,000 corporations. They don't all have the same interests, but generally speaking, they're going to want to prioritize that less as a whole. The I will agree with you that free housing is unrealistic in the short term. You're absolutely right there. The movement towards that, it's very realistic to extend the moratorium with direct
Okay,
pressure, with direct action.
let's try
So
to take it
those
back a
things,
notch from the whole like this is what could happen down the line. And instead,
well,
let's look at it from what we have right now. Do you agree that it is a good thing overall that right now it seems as if the corporate interests are aligning with pro-gay messaging, which we both have already agreed has
It's
a
a good thing
positive
that
outcome.
it's normalizing it. Yes, I can agree with you on that. But
where's the
yeah,
real negative here?
the negative is that they're hijacking a movement. When you like, it's the same thing. Like, this is a little bit of an admittedly abstract example, but like the Russian Revolution in 1917, when it was so the first revolution was a grassroots movement of people. It didn't really have a lot of leadership, but then when Lenin and the vanguard took it over, they destroyed the Soviets, the workers' councils and stuff, and lo and behold, the horrific Soviet Union formed. So when you have this leadership of corporate interests that are, and even wealthy gay people too. I mean, I think when they start to take over the problem or the movement, it becomes a problem. When you have this vanguard or large movement, it threatens anything. Like it threatens
But
BLM,
how?
it threatens
But
all
like
of it.
you have, but that's the other thing is I appreciate you acknowledging that this is abstract, but like how does it hijack it? From what we've seen, we're seeing companies that are donating to pro-gay causes because the market incentivizes them to do so.
Yeah, but like when it comes to economic problems they face, it actually hurts it because their economic interests are not aligned with the gay community at all. Or
That's not true.
foreign
You're
wars.
assigning. No, that's not true. Maybe the gay community doesn't want free housing. Maybe they think that that's too unrealistic.
If you look at the polls, that's just false. But even if it's the case, it still would help their interests because would you agree it's better to be homeless or better to have a home than be homeless? Well,
Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah.
I listen, I understand your argument. It's my understanding that your argument is that when these corporations get too involved, it can hijack the goals of the movement, I guess, which would be free housing, possibly. Like,
Well, that was just an example I threw out. Or like prison reform. Twice as many people in prison are gay than in the general population. So these are things that corporations aren't going to want to address. So that's why rainbow capitalism is a problem because it only deals with the superficial. It doesn't deal with the underlying problems.
hold on one second.
Sorry.
I'm trying to find out how, like, where are you getting this information that corporations are against prison reform? Like, I'm trying to find.
Oh, like the private prison industry, for instance, right? Or generally speaking, they're not going to want it. The people that have the most say and influence.
Okay, this is my problem here. See, is I think that the reason we're misaligned here is because you're thinking very much in the broad scale, and I'm thinking very much in the what's happening right now scale. Okay,
I think
I understand.
I think you're like 90% correct, but
okay, I understand your point, but this would be an entirely different issue, right? This is the prison industrial complex, private prisons. Yeah, they're not great, but also to be fair, I've seen some arguments that private prisons do sometimes have better like standards of care as opposed to federal prisons. But these are like really deep systemic issues that you're talking about fixing.
Exactly.
But that can happen. I guess you're arguing that the corporations are going to
Their
hijack
interests are
that.
fundamentally unaligned. Yeah. So that's the problem when you have this group of people that have very different interests. And yeah, I guess I haven't established that with you, which is the problem. But
maybe that's why we're so misaligned here, because it sounds to me just what you're saying is there are all these like massive goals that even if down the line they do misalign, then what's wrong with them doing what they're doing now, donating to pro-gay causes and further normalizing gay people? I feel like even if that were completely true, even if I conceded that, then it still wouldn't change the fact that right now rainbow capitalism is good.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on this. But it's good talking to you. I've probably taken up too much of your time,
And
but
no, in all
thanks.
fairness, I talked to you a little longer because I think that you made some really strong arguments. And
I appreciate that. This is my first time really doing like a debate with anyone high
no,
profile.
I understand. The thing is what I don't really agree with you, and I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more research, but I do understand what you're saying is that some of these broader goals might actually be obstructed by corporations, which I guess I would just say that even if that were true, us paying for like Pride merchandise seems to be going to positive outcomes for gay people as far as donating to pro-gay causes, and these corporate PACs, they're donated from the employees. The corporate money isn't going into those. So I think that even if that were completely true, you could still argue that the positives of rainbow capitalism right now completely outweigh the like hypothetical negative. But that's just my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, I'll agree with you that it does have some benefits. Like it would be crazy to argue that like it's all bad, but yeah, we'll have to agree to disagree on the rest.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, all right?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one.
See ya. Okay. Fuzzer, what's up?
Sorry.
I can hear you.
All right. I don't think anyone has argued this yet, but what I want to know your opinion about how some people believe that corporations should do better than just a rainbow logo.
I completely agree that should happen. Yes.
What do you think should change? Like, what do you want that these corporations should start doing? Because I'm reading this article by CNBC,
Uh-huh.
and it's talking about how some employees think they should, there should be less discrimination, of course.
Of course. Yeah, so what my overall argument is that it's good, but I'm not saying it's as good as it's going to get, and I'm also not saying that we should be complacent and that this is good and this is where we should stop. So, what I'm saying is that, for example, if there's a company, right, that internally the company, let's say, isn't always the most polite to the gay employee, okay? If that were the case, that would be bad, right? But what would be better, that or if that company was also helping to normalize gay people externally? Hypocritical, yes, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they're helping to normalize gay people as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's really my argument, is that yes, they should absolutely do better, and I think that they should be called out and criticized for being so inconsistent, but I don't think that necessarily takes away from the fact that rainbow capitalism still has an overall good effect. Like, rainbow capitalism, for example, isn't hurting gay people who might not have been treated properly in the company, for example.
I totally agree. I've been watching, YouTube videos, and there's a consistent phrase where people are like, yeah, these corporations don't care about you, blah, blah, blah. They're just doing it to make money, of course. And I've heard your argument, of course, and I agree.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I just wanted to hear out what you thought about what could be improved. I've also read here that basically, since they can't fire gay people for, race, sexuality, or religion, that they'll find other reasons too. That's a really complicated
I would
thing,
have to look into that. That I have a little bit of a doubt, not because I think you're not telling me the truth, just because I feel like there's probably more nuance to that story. But either way, I really appreciate you coming on. I also hate to cut the conversation short, but your mic is kind of cutting out.
That's my fault, man.
No
Thanks for
worries.
having me on.
Thanks so much. Have a good one. Uh-oh. Come on, Discord. Uh-oh. I think I'm gonna have to... I think my Discord just crashed. Yeah. Go away, Discord. I'm coming back. I better cut my recording here. Ugh. Chat, let me know. Am I making my point clear enough? Whenever I'm like in the middle of debates, I feel like I'm not being clear enough. So let me know. All right, I'm coming back, Discord. The Other Hunter. Cool name, buddy.
Sorry, didn't know I was muted. Yeah, thanks.
What's up, man? Is your name really Hunter?
Yes, my name really is Hunter.
I can't believe your parents literally named you after me. That's fucking awesome.
No, my profile name's the Other Hunter because my freshman year of college, my roommate, his name was also Hunter, and so he was Hunter and I was the Other Hunter.
And now you're still the Other Hunter. Look at that.
Yeah. It's got a nice ring to it.
That's really fucking cool. So what's
All right.
up?
Well, I've just been listening, and I think you make some really good arguments, and I think your heart's in the wrong place. Although I kind of totally disagree.
Wait, did
And
you mean to say you think my heart's in the right place?
yeah. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha. I'm pretty sure I thought that's what you meant, but I just wanted to... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think you're obviously good faithing this. I can tell. And so I just wanted to offer some critiques of your viewpoints and then also offer some like alternative viewpoints that maybe like prove
Okay.
to have more tangible positive effects. So you mentioned that rainbow capitalism is good because it is a net positive and it's better than the alternative of your, run-of-the-mill normal capitalism. I would have to disagree with that. I think that when we talk about rainbow capitalism as a net positive, it means we're trading one thing that's good, and then we have to give up something that's good or go through something that's bad as the trade.
So maybe I was
So
wrong to call it a net positive?
I would say that, I would say that
Okay.
if the only positive is the normalization of gay people in society, I would call that gross positive, like the total positive gain, you know.
Okay, my bad. My bad there.
No, you're good, man. But I think, you know, if you were to argue that, would you say that for the sake of normalization, we go through dealing with corporations who fund anti-LGBT leaders who create injustice within our society? Do you think it's worth it to do that?
Well, that's kind of what I
Um,
was talking about with the other guy, I'm not really sure what you mean when you say the corporations are funding these people. What you're talking about, it's the corporate PAC.
right. Well,
But
I
that
would argue
goes
that
usually to an even amount of Democrats and Republicans usually.
yeah, which is fair. Although I kind of view PACs not as a separation between the corporation and the individual employee. I would rather just call it the engaging employees using themselves, using their own wages as sort of a filter with which the company can fund those harmful politicians. while they don't intend to harm people because of it, they're not actively seeking to harm gay people because of it. Their main
Mhm.
motivation is a profit motive. You know,
So
like
here's where
choosing.
here's where I have the problem already though, is even if I were to agree with that and completely concede that, since the super PAC is funded by the employees and the employees have a large control over like where the super PAC goes and everything else, and it's well regulated, I don't see how rainbow capitalism is even like connected to that. For example, if these super PACs are going to donate to whatever's in their best profit interest at the end of the day, we both recognize that. But yeah, if they're donating to their, I kind of lost my train of thought there. If they're donating to the go ahead, please continue. Other Hunter,
Right.
take it away. Save me.
Yeah, right. Right. So I think what's going on here is that you're describing the employees of the company as a separate entity than the company itself. When the company is really just the collective of the employees. What we would consider like the top 1% of the company or whatever, the people who make the most money, they're most likely going to be the ones who are the members of those PACs. And so those PACs are going to donate uh, towards whatever politician will get them the most profits. And
Right.
so it's going to be better for the company, and it's decided essentially by the top people in the company. And so I would say that to describe
But it's
PACs and to
also
describe corporations, they're pretty much one and the same.
but so do you have a problem with PACs in general?
Um, I mean, if we're operating under capitalism, and we have to accept that we have to accept that people and corporations can donate money to politicians for the
Okay.
sake of their own financial gain. I would say that PACs aren't inherently bad, but
Okay,
this,
so then this is okay, great. So then we're kind of on the same page there that yeah,
yeah,
PACs
yeah,
aren't
yeah,
inherently bad, but the PACs aren't directly connected. Like the company making more money is not really going to have much influence on the PAC at the end of the day. It's not like you're paying in to this corporation that's then donating to these politicians. It's removed from there. So even if that were the case, which we've both agreed now that PACs are going to exist. And if we want to look at it, it seems more or less that a lot of these PACs are donating to Democrats at similar rates as Republicans because it is a goal of profit at the end of the day, right?
right.
So
That's
even if
another
that,
thing I kind
but what
of.
I'm saying is, even if that's the case, then even if I were to concede that yeah, they're donating there, it still doesn't take away from the fact that they are furthering the normalization of gay people on an external sense. And like I keep referencing, the market is incentivizing a lot of these companies to donate to pro LGBT causes as well.
Well, see, that's the thing is, this is, I think what I'm about to say is not just a critique of rainbow capitalism, but as a larger critique of neoliberalism as a whole, is that, we consider things to be good when we consider it to be a good thing when a corporation uses marketing or uses donations, some sort of charity or goodwill to spread messages advocating for the normalization of queer people in society. And that's well and good. But
Mm-hmm.
the problem here is that because, getting into the nitty gritty stuff, the fact that 40% of homeless people are LGBTQ, the fact that 1 in 12 trans women are murdered, all of those very kind of dark, all of those very like dark statistics about,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
mistreatment and oppression of queer people, corporations aren't going to advocate towards that because if they do, then the people will, they'll be made aware of that and they'll rise up and vote out um, whatever harmful politicians were, um, promoting that sort of mindset.
I'm
And
not following
and
because like I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm following because what do you mean by that? What do you
So the idea of voting for the harmful politicians, as I would call them,
Uh-huh.
as in politicians who, who further oppress queer people. Just to like clarify there, um, it is in itself a market incentive to vote for to donate towards those harmful politicians, because they coincidentally also have uh, also have policies that
Okay.
benefit the company.
So here's where I
And
think that
so,
here's where I think we're having the disconnect again. Is
okay,
this is I understand that you have a critique of neoliberalism in its whole, but we've already acknowledged and conceded that super PACs have to exist, or at least for the sake of right now living in reality, they're going to exist. Sorry, they don't have to exist, but they're going to
well,
exist. So
well, see,
this is like this, but
my
this is
gripe here
why it
isn't
feels
with.
like what's going to have a more positive effect on gay people? These companies helping to further normalize gay people and also incentivize to donate money to organizations that are going to help LGBT homelessness and LGBT trans people that are murdered. Organizations that
Right.
are going to help. That's going to have a positive impact on gay people right here and right now. Whereas what you're saying is like this broad, like we have to change money and politics and change all, like seems like a broader conversation. But like I was kind of getting at, even if those super PACs are donating sometimes to politicians that don't align with the pro-gay movement, isn't it good that the market is incentivizing these companies in every other aspect to align with the pro-gay movement?
Well, see, I'd say my point here is that, I kind of have been ignoring I've been ignoring the intentions of companies, just because I think it's more important to focus on what practical harm they cause,
Mm-hmm.
not what they thought, would occur.
I
Um,
agree with this. Yes, that's
yeah,
why I mean I think that there's a lot of good that comes from this, and I'm looking at the consequences of it, and that's why I'm
right,
determining
right.
that.
Right. And so I think that um, in this case, we kind of do have to examine corporations' intentions to, donate to charity. Um, are they working to make their profits so that they can donate to charity, or
No,
are
but
they
they don't have
donating?
to. This is
Well,
you.
see,
No, no, no.
that's
This
the
is
thing.
so
Like,
wrong. You don't have to look at the intention. I mean, of course, if their intent maybe is some secret intent, maybe there's something there. But no, it's of course their intention at the end of the day is to get more money, obviously. But what I'm saying is that it's a good thing that their profit motive is coinciding with the pro-gay movement and is
we'll
working
see.
together to lead to more normalization.
Okay, okay. I think where we're differing here is that I guess my argument is kind of leaning more towards the economic, because I think that the reason I think in this specific circumstance intention is important
Mhm.
is to understand exactly how the money is being distributed. The corporations end up going to make more money than what they donated, because they got the exposure for donating. So all the money is going to trickle up, and that's going to, in the long run, leave less resources available for charities and organizations, because
So your
they're
problem again is
because they can.
capitalism in its entirety.
Well, yeah, but
Okay,
also.
so that's see, this is where I'm having the issue again.
Okay, okay.
Is and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. And I'm not saying listen, I
Oh
think
no,
that
you're not.
just like how you said that you think my intentions are good, I think your intentions are good too. I don't think that you are a LARPer. Okay, I promise you. I do not think that. But I think that that position can very much lead to a level of LARPing because what
You
it
know what?
is
That's very fair. That is very fair.
because it's pushing for something that's so ideologically radical, something that is so unlikely to happen anytime soon or without some level of revolution or seizing the means of production. We're not going to see that happen anytime soon. What we are going to see happen soon are charities being given money from massive corporations because they're incentivized to do so. So like we have to work within reality. And I'm looking at the economic side of things too. I'm looking at the donations given to these various charities. So
Right.
I feel like I I listen, just to be very, very clear. I have no problem with having a long-term goal. In fact, I can empathize with that. I have long-term goals too. I want there to be more regulation. I want there to be stronger social safety nets. I want there to be even a UBI. I think that would be fucking awesome. So, I think that it's fine to have long-term goals, but I don't think that you can say that the short-term benefits of something are bad because they might not fit your long-term goal, which is ultimately rooted, it sounds like, in a very radical ideology as well.
Well, see, what I think is the big difference here is that, sorry, like corporations, they're not necessarily donating for the purpose of normalization, and they're not only donating for the purpose of, a profit motive. They're also donating as a purpose to conceal. So when, they focus on these more superficial parts
Do you realize you're
of like,
implying intent like crazy here? Like you're just assuming intent.
right, right. Well, I don't want to assume,
You
I
are.
guess
You're
the
saying
reason
that they're doing it just to conceal, like, that they really don't like gay people. Like, this just seems kind of conspiratorial almost.
Oh, what they're concealing is, when the masses see, that sort of neoliberal like rainbow aesthetic, uh, it kind of puts a veneer like on a rotting tooth,
Uh
and
huh.
it makes things look pretty and it makes things feel like social progress has been made, when in reality, that's not going to be fixed. Even
This
no
is just
matter how
purely
normal.
conjecture. This is like a hypothetical. This is like saying it's not good because it might make some people feel complacent. That's true, yeah. But people are going to feel complacent no matter what. People felt complacent after Joe Biden won. That doesn't mean we shouldn't get Joe Biden in office. Like are like people can be complacent no matter what, but you can also flip it and see how the advocacy for gay rights is only growing, the fight for gay rights is only growing, and it like gay people are being more and more normalized, acceptance of gay people is growing. It seems like there's not really much of this like complacent attitude festering from Pride Month. It just seems like it's just continuing to play a role in normalizing gay people.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a very good argument. Um, I'm just like, maybe, I guess, uh, what I do want to say is that I think, that even if it's normalized, and even if every waking member of like the civilian class in America, if all of them, they like were very aware of gay people, they had that exposure that made them not bigoted in any sort of way, we're still going to see we're still going to see more right-leaning politicians who are not who
Mm-hmm.
are not going to try and stop any sort of homophobia or any sort of, oppression of queer people.
That's partially true, but also, again, it's all motivated by profit, right? So after the January 6th Capitol riots, we saw corporations vowing to no longer donate to some of these politicians that had either been involved, and some of them actually shut down donations entirely to from like completely. And also, just to clarify, I don't know if this is if I don't remember if it was you or the previous caller that talked about how it was mainly the wealthy people who were donating to these PACs. If I'm not mistaken, I believe a lot of these PACs are funded from people donating like $200. I don't think that these are necessarily just rich people. I think the goal of these PACs was to, again, give kind of the employees a collective voice. But I know that's a little bit off subject. I just want to clarify that to you and to the chat because I didn't mention it earlier. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the point I made. And yeah, I can get behind that. I'd say that's fair. Um, You
All right,
know,
man.
I think you're making really good arguments, and though I don't think agree. I don't think I agree fully. I do see more of your point and would be less inclined to defend mine vehemently unless I, was able to look a lot more into it.
All right, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming on, and I appreciate this. Being a nice, good faith conversation. I certainly hope I didn't come across like I was being mean. Sometimes
Oh
when I
no,
get
no, I didn't
passionate,
get
I
that at
sound
all.
heated. At the same time.
Oh no, I didn't notice that at all. You're good.
All right, man. Have a good one, Hunter.
All right, take it easy.
That was a good conversation. All right. The Shy Spooner, what's up? The Shy Spooner, how you doing? Okay. Almighty One for life. What's up?
You hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. How are you?
Shy Spooner. I am okay.
So what's up?
Uh, just real quick, is it okay if we talk about something else other than?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, firstly, I just want to say I do agree with. Well, not more or less agree. Just don't really care about rainbow capitalism. I kind of feel like
That's fine.
a corporation just should do whatever the hell they want. If they want to support gay, or even if it's just fake, just for the money, I mean, I don't really care because, I mean, at the end of the day, corporation is ran by someone, and that person, and I'm not going to be able to tell that person that they can or can't do something, or they
Right.
shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
If
So what's up?
I don't like what they're doing, I just won't buy.
Gotcha.
But I guess the main point I want to talk about is more or less your views on the Democrat, because you do rag on the conservatives a lot, and that they have their things that they should be caught out on.
Uh-huh.
But I guess more or less, I don't really see you
Calling out the Democrats as much.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of going through my, anti-right wing arc. So I am focusing a lot more on the right. And also it's because the right is acting really fucking crazy as of late. So it seems that there's oftentimes like more to cover, to be fair. Just because like the right is just so catastrophically wrong about like virtually every issue. It's almost like laughable. So there's that. And also, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've called out Democrats though. I've called out like woke. I mean, I'm arguing with liberals, I guess, about or leftists about rainbow capitalism and everything else. So I have my disagreements with some side of things here, and I try to express those as best I can. But yeah, right now I am more focused on calling out the right wing. Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay, I mean, well, will you at least recognize that, like, some of the Democrats that are in power, or that are just have more of a voice, that they are either not fit to be in position of power, or they're very hypocritical?
Yeah, of course.
in
I
what they
don't know.
do?
Just to be clear, I don't like just blanket love the Democrats. There just usually
Okay.
isn't as much like crazy shit to cover as you know what I mean? Like, and also
I
like
mean,
since I used to
I
be more
think there's
right wing, that's
some.
more where I'm kind of focusing right now. But yeah, of course, the right is. I mean, the left still has a lot of like kooky people. I mean, I think that AOC is kind of nutty. A lot of the like more far left people don't have any idea what they're talking about with like any kind of like financial stuff. So yeah, there absolutely is like criticism to be made there. I do not have I'm not just like a blanket blind supporter of the Democrats.
But something that kind of struck me is that you said there's nothing like crazy currently, um, which I kind of think that you're wrong on, because there are certainly a number of things that currently have happened from the Democrats that I think should be more talked about.
All right, like what? Like what's up? What's up?
The fact that right now it has just come out. Hold on, I don't have the article pulled right now, but currently speaking, an article has come out saying that Joe Biden, who said he had no involvement with Hunter Biden's laptop or anything, it just come out that he was actually involved with Hunter Biden's laptop and Hunter Biden's business deal with Russia. And I think that's something that is important. No, and hear me out. You cannot say that
This is an opinion piece from the New York Post, dude. Come on.
Okay.
I know that doesn't just blanket debunk it, but
okay, but here's the
you
thing.
guys have been like harping on about this laptop shit for so long, and I feel like it's kind of kooky because Trump's done so much more explicit, blatant shit that you guys never call him out for.
Okay, fine. We all right, but he does get called out. And I'm not conservative or leftist. You know, I don't take either side. I think they're both crap for the most part.
And also, wait, this laptop shows Joe Biden attended meetings between Hunter and his Mexican. I don't understand what this is supposed to put. Like, we know that. Didn't we know they did business dealings over there already? Like, we already knew this shit, right?
Here's the thing. But here's the thing, though, is that Joe Biden himself was saying that he wasn't. So he basically lied.
When Joe Biden said he never went to Ukraine, is that what you're telling me? Oh, wait, this is Mexican billionaires. Hold on.
Damn.
This is the whole Ukraine thing. All right. So there's just so much bullshit that you guys, well, not you, sorry. You said you're not concerned.
Well, I might have been misinformed. I may not have actually
it's just
gone deep into it.
I'm pretty sure that we already knew that Joe Biden went there with him here and there. Doesn't this ultimately come back to the thing that Joe Biden leveraged the $1 billion to help his son? Isn't this what this ultimately comes back to? Or am I incorrect?
Pretty sure this is the lawyer thing about how.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Isn't that what this ultimately comes back to, is trying to like expose his like shady business dealings? Because that first claim is incorrect. It's false. That he leveraged $1 billion to help his son.
But he did, though. Like, he on video said that either he would, this may or may not be the exact quote, but he on video said that if the lawyer wouldn't I think it was, dismiss the case or something, if he didn't do that, or he didn't
if they didn't get rid of the lawyer, then he was gonna withhold the money. That's what it said in the phone call, right? Exactly, yeah, but this wasn't to do anything with his son. This was to get rid of the corrupt prosecutor. It's true that Joe Biden leveraged $1 billion in aid to persuade Ukraine to oust its top prosecutor in March 2016, but it wasn't because Shokin was investigating Burisma. So just to be clear, it wasn't Hunter Biden that was under investigation.
Okay.
It was a company that Hunter Biden had worked with that was under investigation. So again, kind of removed there. It was because Shokin wasn't pursuing corruption among the country's politicians. So this has nothing to do. I got called out on Tim Pool's show because I wasn't well enough prepared for this exact claim. So now I'm making sure I know what I'm fucking talking about here. This wasn't to oust his son. Yes, there's a video of him saying it, but the video is him saying he's going to withhold it because he wants to get rid of this guy. But the motive to help his son was the conspiratorial part.
Okay. So you got me on that.
So
Yeah,
I admit that.
fault.
So I recognize that this isn't a direct thing with the laptop thing you brought up.
Okay.
I'm not as familiar with the laptop thing, but if I'm not mistaken, right. Yeah, they bring up the Ukraine thing in here too. So yeah, I'm guessing this is ultimately going to go back to that initial claim, which is trying to paint Biden as like corrupt and evil and doing something, shitty. When never mind the fact that conservatives never seem to care about the various different ways that Donald Trump leveraged his position in government to benefit his business and his children. So it just seems like a really there's nothing here.
Okay, well, conservatives may not be doing it, but the whole freaking media and Democrats, they would call him out on it, but no one's calling out Joe Biden or Hunter Biden.
Because why should they? They didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I just think it's weird. You know what? All right, you know what? Screw it. I mean, I was gonna say something stupid, but
you saved yourself.
Yeah, but so this case, not specifically, but just in general, I think that some of the things that the Democrats or Joe Biden has done, I don't think that they're being called out more often than they should. Because
okay, so is there something else you're thinking of that it seems like it's just getting swept under the rug?
So Joe Biden, or not
because
the
really
Biden administration,
yeah,
they said that they talked about continuing the border wall or continuing this construction of the border wall.
I've heard this one too.
And
hold on,
something. Right? Can I keep talking, or you just?
No, you can go ahead.
All right. So something that I don't really understand why no one was talking about this, because a big talking point against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden was that Biden was going to fix like immigration or legal immigration, but right now, illegal immigration specifically is worse under him.
Wait, hold on. I think that we're confused again. Okay, so I did see this. After pledging not to build up Trump's border wall, Biden's intentions remain unclear? Okay, hold on. Okay, well, I don't know. This sounds like old news then. I have this article here
It was old. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have this article here from June 11th. Biden administration reallocates $2.2 billion in Trump border wall funds to military projects. Now, I don't like that it's going to military shit, and I would call that out right there. I think that that's so annoying and crappy and so typical of the Democrats. Like, they're all kind of war hawks at the end of the day. So right there, I would criticize that. But yeah, he's not like finishing Trump's wall. It sounds like it was unclear.
I'm not saying he was finishing it. I'm just saying that they had talked about the wall itself. And it's not even just the wall. It's just the fact that, and you call Trump out on this as well, is that Trump was putting like kids in cages or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, first of all, those cages were built under Obama. Let's just get that clear.
It's irrelevant, but okay.
I know, I'm just
doesn't matter. It's bad when the Democrats do it. It's bad when Trump did it. The issue is not just that kids are in cages. It's that under Donald Trump's no. It's that it's under Donald Trump's policy, kids were separated from their families at much higher rates. Second of all, you're right. Biden was kind of silly. Some of them were still, it looked like, kept in cages, and it looked really inhumane. That's partially because there are a fuck ton of people at the border. What Biden did do, however, is I think that there was one detention center. They said that he put the kids in Trump's detention center or something. But when you looked into it, he had to do it because of COVID. There was like no other choice. They had to separate them further. They had to use this facility that was designed specifically for children. Furthermore, I know this for a fact because I was just looking into this recently. Joe Biden, his recent plan, he's already, I think, reunited over 100 families that were separated at the border. So yes, some of that could have happened faster. Some of that wasn't great. The conditions at the border seem to be very inhumane, and that sucks. That's bad. I want to see that fixed. But it seems as if Biden is still following through ultimately with reuniting some of these families.
Well, and that's good. That's good, and I'm not going to freaking get butthurt about that.
It is going
But
slowly. I have an argument. Okay, well, this says only 36. I thought it was over 100. Maybe that's... Okay, well, over 29. I mean, when you think of the individual families, that's still pretty significant. So, yeah, there's still hundreds to go. So, but they've reunited 36 families. It's a slow, grueling process, I can only imagine. But under Donald Trump's policy, it was that if you cross the border, you would pretty much just get thrown into these detention centers, right? So, of course, you're going to see a higher influx of separation. So, some of this is going to take time. Could it have happened faster? Yeah. But again, what do you mean that this isn't being covered? It's just so far the two different things you've told me have just been like wrong. And I didn't mention earlier, but I should have. The whole laptop conspiracy thing has been going on so long. Remember how it was so bizarre? Not even Fox News would touch it. Even Fox News said the story wasn't substantial enough, or substantiated enough, excuse me, for them to actually like go with it. So the whole laptop thing is like a joke. And then this separating families thing, Biden is, although doing it slowly, he's still doing it. I guess I'm not seeing it. Sounds like everything you're telling me has been wrong so far.
and that's probably my fault because I've been trying to keep out of politics, so just usually things that I see come into my mind, they stay there, and I don't really look further upon it. So this probably is my fault for just not really looking deeper into this. And I guess I'm
listen,
sorry
I
for
don't.
wasting for your time.
And hey, I don't fault you, man, because it's hard, especially like if you know you're a busy person. I don't know how old you are, if you have school or if you have work, whatever. You got other shit to do. You don't have time to like immerse yourself in politics the way that I do because it's my job to do it, right? So I understand that. I also understand how easy it is to like go on Twitter and you see a headline, you see a couple different tweets that all kind of sound like they're reaffirming what the headline said. You kind of take it like, okay, this has got to be true then. And then you move on with it. I understand how easy it is to kind of take that more shallow perspective. And I'm not faulting you for it. I know that sounds mean, but I'm not faulting you for it either because I recognize that not everyone has the time to like do heavy duty research.
I mean,
In fairness, on the flip side, it's also like not all of this is, in fairness, that heavy duty research. Like some of this is, if you were ever curious, I would just recommend just looking it up, read an article.
It's more or less just actually like reading the article, more or less just skimming the title and then running with it.
I know it's easy to skim the title, but whenever, and I mean, I'm partially doing it also because I'm pulling this stuff up. I don't have this prepared, but it's more about just, especially like when I'm going through shit like in a debate or whatever, and if I have stuff pre-prepared, I usually make sure I've read the entire article, have an understanding, and also just because I want to have an understanding of what's going on. So that's what I would recommend. Read the article from start to finish. Sometimes just maybe read 2 articles from different sources. That's what I do. Sometimes I'll read stuff from like ABC, then CNN. I'll read Fox News's take on it sometimes just to see. So that's what I would recommend.
All right. Well, no, it was fun talking. Big fan. I'll continue watching your videos, even though, and I'll probably just stay tuned in the live stream, go through the comments about how I'm actually retarded, probably.
Nah, it's all right. Don't worry. So far, I don't. Chat looks like they're all. Chat looks like they're being friendly, so don't worry about it, man.
All right. Well, good talking. Good talk.
All right. See you, man.
See ya.
All right. For a more perfect America, thank you for the $5. Corporations should be pro-LGBTQ because it's the right thing to do, not because it helps their bottom line. That's an unrealistic goal to set, though, unfortunately. Halston Wirt, thank you for the $5 donation. Just curious, what does the 6 in your Twitter handle mean? I don't think it has any significant meaning. It was just the username that wasn't taken. All right, guys. Oh, I think it's time to do a hit. If you're enjoying the stream, then consider putting something in the super chat. Your message will be displayed on screen. Your message will also be read and responded to live from me. Isn't that lovely? Every time I stream now, someone in chat's like, "So Hunter, are you gonna do a bong hit?" If you want to help support the channel, guys, this is kind of the intermission, the chill time. So this is when your message is most likely to get read and responded to instantly. All right. Hunter's about to get twiddle-dum. Twiddle-dee and twiddle-dum. Why would anyone pay you? Because maybe they want to help support the channel. Maybe they like the content, you know? There's a lot of reason why. All right, the rainbow capitalism is now done. That's cool. So how's everyone doing today? I can't even tell if Hunter is trolling or if he's really a socialist now. Hey, get in the Discord, please. Oh, please. Is this going to be one of those, the socialism is when the government does stuff? Also, what have I said that would even imply that? Join the dark side? No. I am a social democrat. I am not going to become one of these like major like revolutionary worker sees the means of production stuff. No. I'm liking this new and improved Hunter. Thanks. Get ready for the ASMR. That was a little baby hit. I try to take it real slow because sometimes it can be kind of harsh. Runa, thank you for the $5. Hey, Hunter, here's some drug money for more weed. Thank you. Keep up the good work. What debate did you find more interesting? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I just, I've been kind of tired today. I know that sounds like I'm making excuses. I just feel like I didn't do as good with the conversations as I could have. I'm not making excuses. I just, I don't know. I have been kind of tired. I think it might be because I haven't streamed in a couple days. Hunter, do you like drugs? No. I mean, I like weed. So if you count that as a drug, then yes, but weed is the only thing I like. I don't fuck around with anything else. No other substances, no alcohol, nothing. Nah, I quit weed because I become perpetually lazy. You know what I'm going to say, right? You're just smoking the wrong strain. I smoke sativa, which literally has the opposite. It wakes me up. Or maybe I'm just built differently. Coffee or caffeine exists, Hunter? Yeah, it's not at all the same, sorry. Caffeine or tobacco? I mean, I like coffee, I guess. But I don't like tobacco, no. Stupid idiot bros, what's up?
Oh, hello, I guess.
Hi, how are you?
All right. I wasn't expecting to get on, so I'm kind of caught off guard.
Okay, well, you want to talk about anything?
I guess not today. I was mostly just joking. I don't really have anything to debate right now.
All right,
So,
well, hey,
I
man,
guess
well,
see you next week.
all right, have a good one. Jewish user of men's body wash. That is a username. What's up?
Not much. I apologize if my family is picked up on the microphone. They are very loud.
No, it's fine.
I'm not really here to debate, and I'll be very quick because I want other people to go. I'm just here to have a brief, friendly discussion.
Okay, sure.
Well, my stance on rainbow capitalism is that these corporations don't care and that they're just want to do the best business move, and right now the best business move is coming off as accepting. So at least that's my 2 cents. And rainbow capitalism in itself is not bad, but it's kind of hypocritical that these companies do horrible things while maintaining a outwardly friendly, accepting demeanor.
Okay, so what do you mean by that? What horrible things are these companies doing?
Not horror. I mean, like for example, like sweatshop labor, like stuff like that.
So do you have an issue with just capitalism in its entirety?
I mean, there are most definitely flaws with capitalism. I'm not anti-capitalist, but I'm not a hardcore capitalist. I would say that I'm or what's commonly referred to as humanitarian capitalism.
So do you think it would be fair if, let's say that, because I agree that using sweatshop labor is bad, but that's like an entirely different discussion, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was just using that as an example of
So of
deeds that
course,
companies do.
right. So of course the corporation is in it for the money at the end of the day. But my argument is simply that it's good that their goal to make money seems to align with the interests of gay people.
And that part is good. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that the interests aren't at heart. I mean, sure, it aligns with the interest.
But why does that matter? Why does it matter if
No,
they...
I'm just. I mean, ultimately at the day, but sorry, my dog was barking.
That's okay.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a good thing. It just comes off as a little annoying, in my opinion, as an LGBT person.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I just, I know you're not really here for a debate or anything. I just think that you might want to reconsider that position a little bit, because I think that might be coming from a place that's a little bit privileged, just because I think that really, ignores... you might find it annoying, and that's fine, but I think that you finding it annoying is not really a very good argument, as opposed to like the benefits provided to
No,
gay
I'm
people.
I'm saying that ultimately it's beneficial. Like, for example, wait, why am I saying for example? I had a long day. Okay, so
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like debate bro you here. I was.
Oh, no, it's fine. What was I trying to say?
Just that, it's kind of annoying. It seems that they're like virtue signaling.
Yeah, ultimately, it does help gay people because it helps normalize LGBT people.
Hmm.
It's primarily financial gain that is motivating this. Honestly, what I'm saying isn't really an argument. I'm not arguing for a side. I'm more so just, I say saying things as they are that makes it sound like I'm on my high horse.
Well, no, but the thing is you're correct in what you're saying. Is yeah, of course they're in looking for the money. That bleh. They're in for the money, of course. But yeah, I guess I mean yeah, if that's if that's what all you're saying, then I would agree with that. Yep, they are looking for the money.
That's essentially what I'm saying. Reading the title of, what was the title of your stream again? Let me look it up in announcements.
Rainbow capitalism.
Wait, no, you were saying something about rainbow capitalism is good. I forgot where I
Yeah,
saw that.
that was on my Twitter.
Yeah, I don't have Twitter. Maybe I saw it somewhere else.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming on.
That's pretty much it. I don't want to hold you up any longer, and I'd like other people to go. So thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
No worries. Bye-bye.
See ya.
The number 2. What's up?
Oh, hello there.
Hello. Do you have a contention?
To be honest, this isn't anything about rainbow capitalism. Is this allowed? I want to ask you a question about like Republicans and like the Hydra of how they like grab like the culture war.
Sure. Yeah, we don't have to just talk about rainbow capitalism anymore.
Well, I know how you were like a part of that a couple years ago, so I want to understand like how did that happen? Like how did it work?
Oh, you mean? Well, a lot of it is just the right is really good at inventing a straw man of their opposition, and then providing very like selected examples of that straw man that reaffirms sort of this idea that this caricature they've kind of assigned to the entire left, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
that really played a large role because I was partially in an echo chamber. So yeah, hearing, the kind of straw man of what the left is like, as if they're all this one homogenous group, and then seeing these selected examples to kind of reaffirm that.
Cool. And I'm also trying to like figure out like where's like I mean I could probably easily look that up, but like the abundance of like newer right wing sources like the First, Real America Voice, RSBN,
Hmm.
and like how they're uh basically turning normal quote normal conservatism farther down to the right.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, the conservatives have definitely deviated, and they're heading more in that direction. But yeah, hey man, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Love the channel.
Thanks, man. Why does my computer keep breaking? Now my thing is frozen. My stream might crash here in a second, guys. Oh boy. Still falling across the stairs. Thanks for the $5. Sent you Blaze, obviously. What kind of strain do you prefer, indica or sativa? Definitely sativa. I don't know if I'm still live or what, but this is broken. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. See ya. Peace.